I was just trying to walk home using a shortcut by the lake I'd used for years when this HOA Karen came out screaming like I'd stepped on sacred ground. She didn't ask who I was, didn't bother checking anything, just called 911 claiming I was trespassing and dangerous. But what she didn't know was that not only did I have every legal right to use that path, I was federally protected, and the moment she escalated things, she triggered a response she could never undo. I've lived in my grandparents' old house for the past 6 months, ever since I got relocated for work. It's a peaceful spot with a public access trail running behind it, which cuts through a small gated community and ends near the lake. That shortcut? It's been used by locals for decades and is part of a federally protected easement that predates the HOA by almost 40 years. But of course, HOA Karen didn't care about that. The first time I took the path, I heard shouting from behind her hedge. A woman's voice yelling that the trail was private property and I was breaking the rules. I didn't even look back. I just kept walking. But over the next week, things got weird. I'd see her car parked near the lake entrance watching me, while she followed me in her golf cart until I reached the public road. I ignored it. I figured she'd get bored. But she didn't. One Thursday morning, I was coming back from a long jog and decided to take the shortcut again. As I stepped onto the trail near the lake, I heard screeching tires. Karen had pulled her SUV onto the grass and slammed the door. She started yelling like I'd just broken into her home. She had her phone out and started recording me calling 911, saying there was a suspicious man trespassing on HOA property. I calmly told her that the path was part of a federally protected access trail, but she wasn't hearing it. The dispatcher must have asked for more because she started screaming into the phone that I was resisting and that I might be armed. That's when I knew this wasn't just harassment. She was trying to provoke an armed response. And I work in federal enforcement. She had no idea the mess she just walked into. I called in my agency's legal liaison, and within 10 minutes my ID was verified. 2 marked federal vehicles pulled up behind the responding officer's car. Karen's face twisted in confusion. When she realized I was a federal agent with clearance, she started backtracking, saying she was just worried for the safety of the neighborhood. But I already had my body cam running. Everything she said, everything she lied about was recorded. The local police looked stunned. She kept asking why federal agents were involved. I told her plainly. The shortcut she claimed was private. It's actually on a protected federal easement tied to a 1973 conservation grant. Not only did she call in a false emergency, she tried to interfere with protected federal land access. That's a felony. The next week, the HOA board tried to cover it all up. They put out a letter claiming there was confusion about property lines and thanked Karen for her vigilance. But that letter directly contradicted public land records. I passed the letter along to the US Attorney's Office and the Department of the Interior. Within a month, the entire HOA was under federal review. Karen got slapped with 2 charges: misuse of emergency services and obstruction of a federal trailway. The HOA president resigned and the shortcut got brand new signs posted by the feds saying public right-of-way tampering is a federal offense. After the news hit the local paper, I started getting support from neighbors who also used to take the trail until they were bullied into stopping. Turns out Karen had been gatekeeping the path for years, pretending it was her personal space. But now, with the federal ruling in place, it was no longer her word against mine. She tried to post videos online, claiming she was targeted unfairly. But they backfired, especially when commenters saw how calmly I explained everything while she ranted and lied to 911. Eventually, she took down her Facebook and Nextdoor profiles. Word was she'd put her house up for sale by winter. You'd think it ends there, right? But just wait. 3 months later, Karen tried to sue the government for emotional distress. And what happened in court? That's a whole other story. So a few months pass, and everyone assumes Karen's quietly licking her wounds, right? But nope. She decides to go full rogue and files a lawsuit against the Department of the Interior claiming she suffered emotional trauma from being embarrassed by federal agents and harassed by the community. Because of the media coverage, she brought it all on herself, but still she played the victim card. The court filing was wild. She claimed the path behind her house should be private because it disrupted her peace, and that I used government power to intimidate her. The judge almost laughed. her out of the courtroom, but the case had to proceed because she got a local lawyer who clearly didn't. Read the fine print. She was serious. She thought she could sue the United States government, and when the court day came, and I showed up in a plain suit with my agency's legal team, and Karen showed up with a binder full of screenshots. Blurry videos of people walking past her backyard. None of it proved anything illegal or harmful. She had one neighbor testify. She'd always tried to protect the neighborhood, and another neighbor quietly told me she was just scared of Karen and didn't want to get on her bad side. When our turn came, we presented the easement records, GPS maps, and even a scanned copy of the 1973 federal land grant. The judge looked over the documents and immediately asked Karen's attorney if they understood what a federally protected right-of-way meant. Could hear the silence in the room. Karen's lawyer asked for a recess and never came back. The judge dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning Karen could never bring it back again. Then came the twist. She was fined for wasting court resources and given a warning for potential perjury because of her false statements under oath. She tried to cry in the hallway, blaming me, the HOA, and even her lawyer, but no one was buying it. HOA officially cut ties with her, saying she was never acting on their behalf and had been warned not to engage people on the trail anymore. The HOA had to pay a fine, too, for misleading signage and known compliance with federal trail laws. Turns out, they'd removed the public access signs years ago to make the shortcut look private, and that's a big violation. Karen moves out asterisk. About 6 months after the lawsuit, Karen's house went up for sale quietly. No listing photos, just a for sale sign and a note that said shown by appointment only. She didn't even tell her neighbors. Goodbye just vanished one day. The moving truck came and took her stuff, and she was gone. I heard she moved to a different state to be near her sister, or at least that's what the HOA president who replaced the old one told me. Funny enough, that new president was a retired park ranger who actually put benches and small lights along the shortcut trail and organized a community trail walk to show everyone they were welcome again. Total shift in vibe, federal upgrade. The best part is the trail got an upgrade too, thanks to the whole incident. Drawing attention, some grant money got approved, and now it's got proper trail markers, drainage, and security lighting installed, and they even added a signpost honoring the original family that donated the land way back in the 70s, which by the way includes my grandparents, who were the first to advocate for the public path. Karen thought she was protecting her turf, but the turf was never hers to begin with. She awakened something bigger than her. She stirred up the community, the media, and the feds all over a shortcut she never had control over. Cliffhanger setup. Asterisk. But here's where it gets even wilder. A few weeks ago, I got an email from a reporter saying Karen's name came up in another HOA dispute in her new town, this time involving a public boat dock. She's already started calling the cops on families trying to fish there, and now guess who's being investigated again for federal access obstruction. I haven't responded to the reporter yet, but something tells me this isn't the last time I'll hear about HOA Karen. And next time, it might not be me who shuts her down, but I'll definitely be watching asterisk.